Tonight we are witnessing something that would have seemed impossible just 12 months ago. The European Union, which spent years giving orders, imposing sanctions, and making threats, is now begging for a conversation with the very countries it used to ignore. Good evening and welcome to One Africa. Before we dive in, we want to thank every single one of our loyal subscribers. Your support means everything to us and helps us continue bringing you the real stories that mainstream media refuses to tell. If you are watching for the first time, we warmly invite you to join our growing family by hitting that subscribe button and turning on notifications. Together, we are building a community that values truth and African dignity. What we are seeing is not normal diplomacy. This is a moment that reveals fear, panic, and a massive change in global power. The question everyone in the Sahel is asking tonight is simple yet explosive. Should Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger allow the European Union and United Nations back into their countries? Or is this sudden apology just another trick? For decades, the European Union never negotiated with Sahel countries as equals. They gave orders. They forced conditions on African governments. They used aid as a weapon. These powers told governments which laws to pass and told militaries how to fight. They redesigned economies to benefit European interests instead of African people. And whenever Sahel leaders resisted, they faced sanctions, isolation, and threats. But something has changed. The European Union is no longer commanding. Now they are requesting. They claim they have no conditions. And for the first time, European officials are quietly using the word forgiveness. Why is this happening now? Why apologize today after years of pressure and destabilization? The answer is found in what is happening on the ground. Every Western-backed security strategy in the Sahel has failed completely. Despite billions spent and years of military presence, terrorism spread further. Instability worsened. The people lost all trust. Then came the breaking point. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger finally said enough. When these countries expelled European and UN forces, it was not emotional, it was calculated. These governments studied the results, examined the data, and listened to their people. The conclusion was undeniable. Foreign military presence was not solving the problem, it was making it worse. So the Sahel made history by demanding foreign forces leave. Suddenly, Europe lost its access, its leverage, and its control. What happened next shocked the world. Instead of collapsing under pressure, the Sahel nations united. The Alliance of Sahel States was created. This was not another talking club, this was a real confederation focused on security and sovereignty. These countries started sharing intelligence, launched joint military operations, and formed independent partnerships. Most importantly, they stopped asking for Western permission. Just as Europe was trying to respond, another bombshell dropped. Russia publicly accused France and Ukraine of funding terrorist groups in the Sahel. These were direct accusations, claiming that destabilization was not accidental but deliberate strategy. Suddenly, the EU's apology looked less like humility and more like damage control. The European Union now says we made mistakes. They admit there were misunderstandings. They insist they want to help, with no demands or conditions. But Africans are asking reasonable questions. If these were honest mistakes, why did they continue for decades? If these were misunderstandings, why were they enforced with sanctions? And if intentions are pure now, why did it take losing all influence before they apologized? History has a long memory. The same institutions asking for forgiveness once armed dangerous factions, undermined legitimate governments, and ignored civilian suffering. Now they return with smiles, asking to be trusted again. Is this genuine reconciliation or strategic repositioning? Let us be honest about what is really happening. Europe is not just afraid of terrorism, Europe is terrified of losing its influence over the continent. The Sahel is reorganizing, building new alliances and trading outside traditional European channels. This threatens the old world order where Africa followed and Europe led. That era is ending. Should Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger allow these negotiations? Supporters point to potential benefits like more resources and intelligence sharing, but the risks are enormous. Once these institutions get back inside, influence follows. Once influence returns, pressure resumes. Once pressure resumes, sovereignty erodes. The alliance leadership understands this cycle too well. The United Nations claims neutrality, but that neutrality did not prevent failure. UN missions stayed for years while terrorism grew. UN reports multiplied while security declined. So when the UN says it wants to return, citizens ask a simple question. Return to do what differently? The people in Ouagadougou, Bamako, and Niamey remember everything. They remember protests against foreign control. They remember endless military convoys. They remember broken promises. Public sentiment across the Sahel is clear. Never again without genuine respect. The Alliance of Sahel States is not improvising. They are building indigenous intelligence networks run by Africans. They are developing community-based security. They are creating regional military coordination. This model does not depend on foreign apologies. It depends on real accountability. Forgiveness without truth is manipulation. Apologies without accountability are strategy. If Europe truly wants redemption, it must answer hard questions. Who funded the armed groups? Who benefited from chaos? Who blocked African-led solutions? Until these questions are answered, trust is impossible. Allowing the EU and UN back now would send a terrible message to Africa. It would say that pressure eventually works if you wait long enough. Alliance leaders know this and refuse to weaken the stance they fought to establish. This decision is not about today. This is about the next 50 years. Will Africa continue recycling dependency, or will it protect its hard-won autonomy? The Sahel has chosen the long game. Europe is trapped. It cannot force entry. It cannot dictate terms. And it cannot ignore the Sahel. So it apologizes. But apologies alone cannot erase decades of harm. Alliance leadership understands geopolitics. They know the difference between genuine help and strategic camouflage. They will not fall for wolves in sheep's clothing. This decision will echo beyond the Sahel. Across Africa, leaders are watching. They want to know what happens when you say no. What happens when you stand firm? What happens when you choose sovereignty? The Sahel is setting a precedent for the continent. Should the EU and UN be allowed back? Not on apologies alone. Not without accountability. Not without structural changes. And most likely, not at all. The Sahel is no longer a testing ground. It is no longer a playground. The Sahel is awake. Tonight, as Europe knocks softly on a door it once slammed shut, the Sahel listens carefully but does not rush to open. If you believe Africa must protect its sovereignty, if you believe apologies must come with accountability, if you believe the era of manipulation is over, then stand with us. Please like this video, share this report, and if you have not subscribed to One Africa, hit that subscribe button now. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Africa's future will not be written in foreign capitals. It will be written by Africans who refuse to forget. This is One Africa, and we will keep watching.